Good evening, friends. Welcome all viewers to Unacademy Chess India. Myself, Arena International Master Gajengi Rajababu. Arena. I am a chess trainer from Mumbai who is teaching chess since last 18 years. Now I got a platform where I can teach more viewers. The platform called Unacademy Chess India. We have a bunch of trainers who can train all level of kids, adults, like everyone. We are going to teach basics, intermediates, as well as advanced players. Now, actually today's my topic is the pin. But before going to start with the topic pin, I want to give a simple, a brief, an explanation, and at the same time, guys, you can also read the text which is given below. So I'm going to cover basic middle game, tactics, and combination. Now you all know that like chess game having three phases. Like one is opening phase, second is like middle game phase, and the third is end game phase. Now we know that the interesting stage of chess learning is the middle game in chess. Even the opening stage as well as end game stage is also more interesting. I'm not saying that only the middle game is a very interesting stage, but all three stages are equally important. The middle game in chess is basically a segment, as I told you, the segment between opening as well as middle game, but there is it is very difficult to draw a border line between opening and middle game and end game. And one of the main aspect of the middle game is tactics. In middle game, a chess player, if he wants to win the game, they have to use a certain tactics, and also they can use certain strategies. But I'm going to cover a tactics and combination. Now, the tactics involves combination and sacrifices too. So therefore, most of the kids love to solve combinations, to solve tactics. So in short, we can say that it is a great entertainer. It's like, in Hindi we can say that बहुत मजा आएगा when we solve combinations. I know few students who keep on solving these tactics non-stop. They solve like they solve for 2 hours, 3 hours, but the various on various topics they solve. Now, as I told you earlier, I'm going to cover on this unacademic platform. I'm going to cover pin, knight fork, double attack, skewer attack, back rank, discover attack, discover check, destroying the defender, decoy, deflection, overload pieces, line opening and line closing, even the square vacation, fast pawns, X-ray attack, zigzag, even draw by stalemate or the repetition by draw or the draw by repetition, we can say, even the smothered mate, windmills, but only the basic part, not even intermediate and advanced, but only the basic part I'm going to cover. So today we are going to see the first part, which is pin. Now let's see that, as I said, pin is a part of middle game tactics or middle game combination. So in viewers mind a first question comes, what is a combination? A combination क्या है? And how to recognize that combination? उस combination को हम कैसे recognize कर सकते हैं? Is it possible for a normal or layman, like the chess player who know how to move pieces, जिसको pieces move करने को आता है, but like he is not aware about this terminology, उसको पता नहीं है कुछ इस terminology के बारे में कि ये combination क्या है, कि ये combination suppose game में हम कैसे उसको recognize करें. Well, a very well known, a former world chess champion, अलेक्जेंडर अलेखाइन, उन्होंने एक सिंपल इन वन लाइन में उन्होंने आंसर किया है दैट कॉम्बिनेशन इज द सोल ऑफ चेस. इफ यू रिमूव कॉम्बिनेशन फ्रॉम द गेम ऑफ चेस देन यू विल लूज इंटरेस्टिंग, like you will lose interest to learn chess or maybe like to play chess. Now next, the most important question is, can we study the art of making combinations? क्या हम इसे study कर सकते हैं? Like how we study our academic subjects, like हम जैसे science, math, social, English, हिंदी या different languages हम learn करते हैं, ऐसे हम chess में एक part, ये जो combination का part है, क्या हम learn कर सकते हैं? या maybe like कि can we improve our knowledge? Can we improve our understanding? Whether after getting the knowledge and after getting the understanding, can we apply in the real game? Is it possible? My answer is simply yes, it is possible. We can study the art of making combinations. That's why we are here, children. Like we all trainers on this platform are here to make you understand or make you or give you the knowledge, make you understand and apply all this knowledge in your real game. Now, as I said, we will move to our topic, or like my topic, today's my topic, and that is pin. So you are hearing this word pin, so the first question comes in your mind, जो नया है, जिन्होंने अभी तक सुना नहीं है ये इस पर्टिकुलर थिंग, तो उसे उसको सिंपली एक क्वेश्चन आता है उसके दिमाग में कि व्हाट इज पिन, ये पिन क्या है. ओके, now I will show you with an example that what is pin. Now just look at this chessboard which has come in front of you right now. Now when we just look at the board, we have very few pieces on the board, like white is having king, black is also having king, white is having one strong major piece which is rook, and the black is having his knight, and both the players having one pawn each. Now here white is thinking to win this game, उसे ये game win करना है, उसे ये game जीतना है. So they played several moves and they arrived to this position. Now he understood one concept, एक concept उसके दिमाग में आ गया, strike हुआ ऐसे कि ये position में शायद वो जीत सकता है by using that tactics which he learned earlier. Okay, and that tactic is pin. So he identified that the king and knight of opponent's pieces are aligning in the same file. In yesterday only, I think Praful sir's class you have learned about files and ranks. Okay, so here the king and the knight are aligning in the same line, and here the white moves rook on e1. When he moves rook on e1, he is threatening to capture this knight. This is what is primary threat. Secondary, like suppose if he try to move this knight from here, or like anywhere, or try to move. I'm not telling that he can move, but if he try to move knight anywhere, like all possible squares, if he try to move, then he is unable to move that knight, because behind this knight there is a king, which is also under threat by this rook. It's also under threat by this rook. Now this setup in chess is called pin. ये pin है. Like opponent का, like our piece is disabling, is not allowing opponent's piece to move. So this is a pin. Now we can see basically a proper, suppose if you want to go for a proper wordings, so we can say that a pin, when one of your piece aims at the opponent's stronger or important piece, which is shielded by one of the other opponent's chessmen. So when we will look at this diagram, so the king and rook aligning in the same rank, sorry, same file, and the knight is coming in between. So we can say that the knight is shielding, knight is right now protecting the king from getting attacked by white's rook. So here simply black will think, oh, he is attacking my knight, so the best way to stop this attack is giving protection. So now black is relaxed, like he thought, wow, my knight was under attack, now I got its protection. But so pin is a such a tactics, a pin is a such a thing which gives a very good advantage if all pieces are in right place. So here white moves d3. Now he is attacking that pin piece. Now the black knight cannot move anywhere, because if he tries to move it will become an illegal move, and you all must know this. If any player during the game makes an illegal move in classical, in standard chess, if he makes 2 times an illegal move, then he will lose his game without getting checkmated. This is something very important that all beginners, all masters, all intermediate players must know. It is not like that ki even the masters cannot make an illegal move. Sometimes even they make an illegal moves under time pressure. So now after this d3, opponents will move something like he want to like unpin himself by moving his king. So simply the white can capture black's knight, and then he can recapture the remaining pawn also. So now it is very easy game to win for white with the help of rook and king. And the one who don't know कि अभी king and rook के साथ कैसा win कर सकते हैं हम, there might be some viewers who are not knowing, कि उनको पता नहीं होगा कि इसको इससे checkmate हम कैसे कर सकते हैं. तो उनके लिए like our other trainers, like I think we have on the board Praful sir and like other trainers who will guide you or who will teach you in their upcoming lectures. So please keep watching. So you will come to know how to checkmate with lonely rook and king. Now let's see now. Guy, just to give me some time. Now, well, we know now what is pin. You must have understood by looking at the diagram कि pin क्या है. Now we will see how many types of pin. Pin के कितने types हैं? Now we will see how many types of pin. Now I can say simply there are two types of pins. One is absolute pin and second is relative pin. Now let's see what are those pins, absolute pin and relative pin. Now look at this position, guys. Yes, this. Now look at this position. Now in this position, white is giving attack to this black knight and black queen is already protecting it. Okay, now but it's white's turn to move, and now white here is moving rook to e1. उसने क्या किया? He recognized the pattern, like opponent के दो पीस एक ही लाइन में है, like एक ही फाइल्स में है. इसका इसका एक पैटर्न है. There is one pattern. जब अपोनेंट के दो पीसेस एक ही फाइल में, एक ही रैंक में और एक ही डायगोनल में, like in the same file, same rank and in the same diagonal, if you find them, and especially when a minor piece is ahead of major piece, like here we know that the queen is major piece and knight is minor piece. Now they are aligned, so immediately white thought of pinning this knight. Now the black is in trouble. Earlier there was only one piece who was attacking this knight, but now a second piece also joined the party. He is attacking this knight. Now the black is in trouble, so he wants to move. Now in earlier position, the previous position, the previous example of pin, when we saw that time, the knight could not able to move because behind there was a king. King पीछे था. Now the king is not behind. Some other important and valuable piece is behind. Now he can move. But the problem is what? As he moves, he will lose his queen. So this type of pin where the opponent's piece can move under pin, so that type of pin is called relative pin. It is called relative pin. So where the pinned piece can move, वो move हो सकता है pin piece only in relative pin में. Okay, so if you try to move, queens gets captured, but in this position he can support this knight. Wow, black supported this knight. Now when black supported this knight, now we know that in the previous example only I said, जब कोई किसी को support करता है in pinning situation में, so we can think of attacking that pinned piece if we available sources. Yeah, here white is having the source to attack that pinned piece by moving pawn on d3. Now here the black is unable to move this knight, means he can move, like move कर सकता है, but the problem is what? He will lose his queen. So he will try to give another support, but he will lose the relatively the valuable piece as compared to pawn. So why we are using here relative word? Because when we are capturing with this pawn, he is capturing with another pawn, but remember the difference between, the main difference is we are capturing knight. We are capturing knight. White is capturing knight, but black is recapturing pawn. So the white captured more valuable piece and black captured less valuable piece. That's why the word relative is being used in pin. So this is an example of relative pin. Now Now we will see an example of absolute pin. We have already seen earlier, but now again. Now just look at the previous position where the queen was standing on e8 square. Now look at this position. Instead of queen, the king is standing on that square. Now the same situation. Now here simply white can pin this knight. In an earlier game we saw, in earlier position we saw the knight could able to move. But in this position knight cannot move. If you try to move, it will become illegal. Okay, so in absolute pin you cannot move the pinned piece. पिन piece को आप move नहीं कर सकते हो और relative में आप pin piece को move कर सकते हो. वही difference है. That is the main difference. Now remember children, whenever you come to the other side, like suppose आपको किसी ने pin किया है, तो पता है आपको क्या करना है? You have to unpin yourself or defender the pinned piece. जो piece pin है आपका, आप उसको defend कर सकते हो. Now d5, d3. So again you are attacking that knight. Now knight is unable to move. He might support further and you can capture that knight and he will recapture it. So this is an example of absolute pin. So I hope you understood the difference between the relative pin and absolute pin. Now let's see what is next. Now we all know, just now we have saw like what is pin, what are the type of pins. Now you have to make note that pin can be created only by the queen, rook and bishop. We know that there are 6 chessmans: king, queen, rook, bishop, knight and pawns. The 6 different chessmans. Now out of those 6 you can use 3 pieces to do pin. One is queen, second is rook and third is bishop. Now by using queen, by using rook and by using bishop, we can pin them on the files, ranks, even in the diagonals. Now let's see one by one, like how to pin by using rook, how to pin by using queen and how to pin by using bishop. This we are going to see one by one. Now remember, rook can pin on the files and ranks. Now this is an example which I am showing where the white is pinning with the help of rook. Now he identified the pattern. He identified the pattern of black's pieces. So he saw the king is on h8 and he saw the bishop is on d8 square. Now we identified both the pieces are aligned in the same line, or we can say that in chess in the same rank. If you have attended yesterday Praful sir's class, he explained yesterday about the files, ranks and about the diagonals. If you didn't watch that, so you can watch that video in the same channel, Unacademy Indian Chess. Or so there he explained about the files and ranks. Now both king as well as bishop are on the 8th rank. Now the white found it that both are aligning in the same. So he used this rook and he simply pinned this bishop. ने क्या किया? Bishop को simply pinned. Now he cannot he cannot move his bishop because it will become illegal, and you all know that now. By now you know what type of pin. Because of that he cannot move that bishop. Can you tell me? Can you type and tell me in the chat what type of pin it is, whether it is an absolute pin or whether it is a relative pin? Yes, I'm waiting for your answer. What type of pin it is? Yes, you all correct. This is absolute. Anush Soni, he answered. This is an example of absolute pin where he cannot move his bishop and save that bishop, but he can unpin by moving his king. So he's unpinning it. So now rook will capture this, and after this, very simple to win this game. And again I'm telling you to viewers कि जिसे ये नहीं पता है कि how to win from this given position, you have to attend our classes, so you will learn in that how to win with this winning advantage. Now this is what we saw with the rooks. So as I told you that rooks can pin along the ranks as well as along the files, दोनों तरह से कर सकते हो आप. Now we will see an example. This, even with the help of queen, we can pin this. So the queen can also pin along the ranks. Queen भी pin कर सकता है. Now he is pinning here bishop. उसने क्या किया? Bishop को pin कर दिया. Now he need to unpin. So as he unpin, the white can easily capture that bishop. वो bishop को capture कर सकता है. And now he can secure his winning position. Now we saw with rook, we saw with queen. Now it is the time to see with bishop. Now in this example, look at king and rook. They are aligning in the A1 H8 diagonal. So this pattern white identified, and after identifying this pattern, he simply played bishop on d4. Simply he played bishop on d4 and he pinned that rook. उसने इसको absolute pin कर दिया. Now the black, even though he willing to move his rook, move करना चाहता है, but he cannot move, and in this situation even he cannot support. So finally what he can do, that he can come closer to rook to just support it. So as he moved, white got an opportunity to capture that rook, and he will secure his winning position. So later on it is an elementary method to win from here. So guys, just now we saw rook can pin on the files and ranks. We also saw bishops can pin along the diagonals, and queen can pin on the files, ranks or diagonals. Very simple. Now let's see what I said. Rook can pin on the files and ranks. Bishops can pin along the diagonals. Queen can pin on the files, ranks or diagonals. The reason behind is Very simple. The queen can move like rook and bishop. In the elementary class, in the previous class only, when one of our educator taught you in the previous video how queen moves, he simply said that queen moves like rook and bishop. So therefore, the queen can pin on the files, ranks, or diagonals. Now, the very big question comes into viewer's mind after learning this pin. ये pin सीखने के बाद a simple question comes into viewer's mind. Is this pin happens in real games? Real game में ये really होता है, ऐसे appear होता है, और only it is like in till the teaching part? क्योंकि ये question आना बहुत, like what we can say that it is very simple to arise this question, because like in our school we learn so many equations, से बड़े बड़े linear equations, like कि maths में बड़े बड़े formulas, ये वो बहुत कुछ हम लोग सीखते हैं, but in real life में application के time we hardly apply them. Okay, so ऐसे कभी कभी thought आता है कि जो हम सीख रहे हैं कि really it is applicable in real game, तो real game में हो सकता है, possible है. Or anyone, like what you can say that winning with pinning possible है, winning with pinning? Let's see whether it is possible or no. I will show you with one example whether it is possible or whether it is not possible. Now I'm going to show you one game, a famous game where like the game is finished within 10 moves. बहुत छोटा game है, but the played between two grandmasters. It is not a, a simple game. Wait guys, I missed one slide. Yes, so it happens in real games. The the game between Grandmaster John Nunn versus the Grandmaster Georgiev. This game is happened in the year 1988 at Linares. So let's see this game, which has actually happened in the real game. Now let's see. We're seeing from this game. We are seeing from White's side. So John Nunn, the Grandmaster, who played or opened with e4, and the black is replied with c6. The white played d4 and black replied with d5. Now those who are newcomers, for them there is one opening principle where the all like all masters, all grandmasters, or yeah very advanced players, they use this basic principle and they play on the basic principle. And the first basic principle of chess opening is controlling the center. So these are the four squares which controls the center. This topic is also covered yesterday, so you can watch that video. So basically the white is controlling center by moving e4 and e5, and black is controlling center, or maybe like is undermining the center by playing c6 and d5. White simply played knight d2, black captured with d into e4, white recaptured it with knight into e4, and black played knight on d7. Now white moved his knight to g5. Now here the white is aiming f7 square, because the f7 square is protected by king, and you all know that our basic aim of playing chess is to checkmate king. तो हमें क्या करना है, अपोनेंट के टेरिटरी में वीकनेस फाइंड आउट करना है. So here white is finding a weakness in opponent's territory. How to, go close to that king and checkmate. So when he saw that, he identified this f7 square, which is protected by only king. So this is a major weakness in black's territory. So if he try to, gather his pieces and try to, attack with a number of times to that f7 square, so there are many chances to win the game. Even you can attack other points like other different squares, but by attacking them you cannot reach to king easily. So here after playing that, simply black thought why this knight is in my territory, यहाँ पर क्या कर रहा है knight. So without thinking much, he just played h6. Now in this position, white played a brilliant move, which is knight on e6. The basic threat is giving to capture this queen. बट यहाँ पर व्यूअर सोच सकते हैं, अरे बट इसने तो ब्लंडर किया white ने. They might think, oh, white must be blundered. So what happens if he captures? तो बताएगा व्यूअर what will happen if he captures. I'm waiting. What will happen if black captures that knight? Yes guys, if someone captures on a6, white simply checkmate by playing queen h5. So after g6 he will be checkmated, because there are no escaping squares for king. King के लिए कोई escaping square नहीं है, and there is a direct check. So this is an example where, like earlier we were talking about combinations, sacrifices in middle game. So white is sacrificing his knight, but if he captures he will be checkmated. So even black thought of that, not capturing, and he played queen a5 and he gave a check. Queen a5 and he gave check. To this, white simply answered by developing his bishop, and the black moved his queen to b6. Now to this, white simply developed another piece by keeping this knight hanging. तो ऐसे ही हैंगिंग रखा, अभी भी अलाउ किया उसे वहां पर कैप्चर करने के लिए. So now black thought, now my queen is not in danger. Even suppose if white try to give this check after capturing, I can simply move to d8. मैं आराम से d8 स्क्वायर पे चला जाऊंगा, मुझे क्या होगा, कि nothing will happen. बस इतना ही उसने सोचा, just he thought just 2 moves ahead, and immediately this grandmaster is not an ordinary player. He just captured that knight with f pawn, and that turned out to be a big blunder for Grandmaster Georgiev. White played queen h5 check. To this he replied simply by playing king d8. Now white immediately identified the pattern of, king, queen, both are in the a5 d8 diagonal. Immediately identified that and simply played bishop a5, and now this has come as a pin. क्या हुआ अभी वो pin हुआ, and this pin is absolute pin simply. And after this move simply the black player resigned. से पता है अभी उसका queen जाने वाला है, like it is going to get captured, and he resigned. So this game is ended exactly in 10 moves. So what I'm telling you, that the pin can really happen in real games, whether it can happen in any level of the game, whether beginners के game हो या intermediate players के हो या even advanced player हो या even grandmasters हो, pin can be applicable in the game. But only thing is that we have to little alert. हमें क्या रहना है, alert रहना है. इसलिए why we have to be alert? To recognize patterns. पैटर्न हमें रिकॉग्नाइज करना है. कौन सा पैटर्न रिकॉग्नाइज करना है? विच पैटर्न? दैट द टू पीसेस, मेजर माइनर पीसेस, are in the ranks, diagonals, or even files, and whether we can pin them and win them. So therefore the famous saying, most of the chess players says, pinning is winning. So remember this, winning is winning. Now after this, after knowing this, that it really happens in real game, we will move to a little complex example. So one more example of pin we are going to see, and that is little complex. Okay, so I will give you the another position now. I hope you are enjoying, and I hope you are learning also. Now this is little complex example of pinning. I know that I supposed to cover the basic topic, but I'm giving an example here where right now, like nothing is aligned as per the pattern, but he created the pattern here. He just played move queen on a4. So this he simply played queen to c6. Now here the viewer can think why he played queen on c6, why he played queen on c6, कोई और possible moves नहीं थे? Yes, यहाँ पर suppose if black king moves to f8, simply the white will give bishop s6 check to this king g8 and queen e8 checkmate. So he cannot move, or he can't move his king to f8. If he try to move to f8, he will be checkmated very soon. वो जल्दी checkmate हो जाएगा. Now other thing, like why can't he move knight to c6 instead of queen? Queen की जगह वो suppose knight खेलता था c6 पे. Now here also a combination comes, that is queen to c6. If captures, rook d8 checkmate. So therefore the black thought of all these moves, and he played his queen to c6. Now here he created a pin to white. He simply sacrificed his rook to d8, and after capturing king into d8, because black is not having any other option, king into d8. Now see, the bishop is pinning knight, and now this knight is pinned. And remember one very important point, if some piece gets pinned, then he lose the quality of defense. Normally हर piece किसी ना किसी को defense कर सकता है, but pin piece immediately lose the power of defense. Now earlier when the king was here, that time this knight was defending the queen, But when the knight is under pin, now he lost the power of defense. So therefore, white simply captured this queen. Simply captured that queen because the knight lost the power of defense. Now we will move to next example. Okay, we will move to next example, but you know what? The another question comes into viewer's mind, whether unpinning unpinning is the defense to pin. The question comes into mind कि pin का कोई defense है कि नहीं? Because many people will fall for this. Many people are falling for this pin because people say कि pinning is winning. तो simply a question आता है कि pinning का कोई है defense? Yes, unpinning is the defense to pin. जब आप unpin करोगे तो आपको defense मिल जाएगा. Okay, so let's see an example through the game where unpinned is being used. Now in the game, I will talk about this game after a minute, but let's see first. Let's see few moves like e4, e5, knight f3, d6, bishop c4, and immediately after this position the black immediately played bishop g4 and is very happy now. Wow, मैंने क्या किया, नाइट को पिन कर दिया. Oh, I learned pinning. मैंने क्या किया, नाइट को पिन कर दिया. If this knight moves anywhere, जैसा नाइट किधर भी मूव करेगा तो I immediately capture queen and I will win this game. तो इस होप में, with this hope, the black pinned this knight. So now white thought, इसने तो मुझे पिन किया है मेरे नाइट को, तो अभी मुझे क्या करना है, आई नीड टू डिफेंड इट बिफोर कि गोइंग टू हैपन अ बिग डैमेज. बड़ा डैमेज होने से पहले मुझे क्या करना है, उस पिन को मुझे अनपिन करना है, उसे इमिडिएटली मुझे अनपिन करना है. तो मुझे क्या करना होगा, तो वाइट ने सोचा कि मैं बहुत कुछ कर सकता हूँ. आई कैन डू वन थिंग, आई कैन गेट माई पीस बैक. इसको पीछे ला सकता हूँ और उसे अनपिन कर सकता हूँ. Okay, but he thought, suppose if I bring my bishop back, so I will waste my precious move. एक मेरा अच्छा मूव मैं वेस्ट करूंगा. Okay, so rather than that, उसने सोचा कि I will keep an eye on that pin and then I will keep developing my pieces. Okay, this is very important. You have to keep eye on all your pieces. Otherwise, you will lose your game immediately. So here, the white simply played knight on c3. And black just made an ignorant move, which is simply g6. Now the white played a wonderful move here, and that move is knight on e5. उसने क्या किया, knight को unpin कर दिया and he set up one trap for black. तो black चाहता था in third move में ही कि मैंने pin किया है, I want to win the queen. So white simply captured that pawn by hoping that black will capture this queen, and the black simply captured that, and now he fell for that famous trap, bishop into f7 check. Now the king can move to only one square, which is e7, and knight to d5 and checkmate. Now this famous position or this famous combination is called legal mate, and I want to tell you this to viewers. Same position I think अक्षय कुमार is used in his movie called Rustum. वहां पर उसने अपनी क्वीन को sacrifice किया to win the game. So this game is mentioned in that movie. So this is an illegal mate. Now we'll move to next. Now after learning all this, you can simply, like, solve few puzzles. We are actually running short of time, but still we will solve few puzzles and understand more about pin and its application. So how it is applicable. Now before going to solve puzzles based on pins, we have to keep these some important points in your mind. दिमाग में ये points डाल दो. Like, find out the key move which pins the opposing chessman. जो opponent के piece align में है, rank में, files में, diagonals में, identify करो and find out the key move which pin them. ऐसा नहीं कि देखा और immediately made your move. No, don't do that. Think, take your time and find out the key move which pins. Next, if pin is already existing, pin already hai, then look for a way to increase pressure. This is the second tip. The first is identify and second is if the pin is already there in the position, look for increasing pressure on the pinned piece. And also remember the very important thing, the pin piece lose its defending power. As I told you just now, it's lose its defending power, so that gives attacker to capturing possibilities. उसे अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलता है अटैकर को टू कैप्चर. Now look at this position, viewers. Now in this position we will use those key points. Okay, is there anything under pin? Yes, already I got the answer from Anush Soni. Like, the bishop is pinning this pawn on g7 because king is behind. Now, as I told you, the last and very important point to all viewers, when someone is under pin, he loses the defense power. So this pawn right now is defending h6, so he will lose the defending power. So therefore the white can simply take the advantage of that, and by capturing with queen he can checkmate. As this Anush Soni said, even we can also checkmate by moving rook to h6. By moving rook to h6 we can checkmate. Even by moving queen to h6 we can checkmate and win the game. Now let's move to another example. But remember children, or remember the viewers, keep these points in your mind. Just read those points and keep those points in your mind. Identify the pattern and try to pin it. The pin is already existing, increase more pressure on the pin. And also remember this, pinning piece lose the defending power, so which gives attacker to capturing possibilities. Now look at this position. This position is white to play. Can white pin something? Can he identify the pattern? Can he pin something? कर सकता है क्या pin? Let's look at the position. Look at the position. Yes, correct. So here the white can play rook to f3 and he can pin queen. So Anush is correct. He can play rook to f3 and pin this queen and he can win the game easily. Like now black trying to defend it, but now he can capture that queen and he can simply win that queen. And later on he can simply win this game also. As I said, pinning is winning. Now let's solve one more example here. And remember children, keep solving these tactical puzzles to acquire the skill of identifying these tactics. जब तक तुम लोग प्रैक्टिस नहीं करोगे, जब तक तुम लोग पजल्स को ज्यादा सॉल्व नहीं करोगे, ऐसे पजल्स को, then you will not become an expert. Now look at this position. It is black to play. I will change board for you. Now it will become much clearer for the viewers to identify the pattern and pin. Yes, yes guys, you are right. Simply the move to rook to f8. So here we identify the pattern, like queen and king are aligning in the f5, and simply black played rook to f8 and he pinned it. But here black did cross pin. This is something called cross pin. Black played rook to d8 and is defending it. A cross pin. Now he cannot capture it. But here the black used the second key point, is attacking the pinned piece by playing queen to h4, because as the third point says, see here he used first point, second point and third point. Now look at here, the first he played rook to f8, क्या किया उसने, पिन कर दिया, then opponent unpinned it, then white used the second point along with the third, that he's attacked the pin piece, and as I said that the third point, the pinned piece loses the property of defense. So now the white is having only option of moving his king, so he moved his king and he simply captured the queen. So like this we can apply, pin in your games. Now a quick revision what we learned today. Like as I told you earlier that one is, sorry guys, it got disconnected for few seconds. So as we learned, there are two type of pins, absolute pin, relative pin, and we can do pin with rooks, bishops and queen. We can use them for pinning, and we can pin along the diagonals, even with the files, with the ranks. That is what we have seen. And for the defense for the pin is unpinning, so we can unpin the pinning situation and we can defend it. And one more important thing, this pin can happen in real game. And remember one saying, pinning is winning. And keep practicing more and more tactical puzzles, and while solving these puzzles, remember you have to set positions in the books on the chessboard, and then you have to solve it. Then you will understand more and better. And remember those three key points, like identify the pattern and try to pin it. If it is pin is already existing, then simply attack on the pin piece, and remember the pin piece always lose the property of defending power, and then you can take that an opportunity. And okay, and remember my next lecture is on 8th of August on fork. The next tactics I'm going to teach you on 8th August, so please join me on the 8th August for fork. Thank you guys for watching me, and subscribe the Unacademy Indian Chess Channel.